Hi there, BookTube. I'm sharing my very first quarterly book haul with you guys today, and I just felt like doing this. And since I'm currently having problems with my filming stuff again, I just thought I'd try this one. And I have a few books to share that I got in January, February, and March. So I thought, why not share it here? But I would really love to know which book haul version you guys prefer, since that is what I will be doing in the future then. If you like the monthly ones, if you prefer this kind, if you just like to get one whenever I accumulated a lot of books, just let me know in the comments down below and I will try to do what you guys prefer. So please let me know. This is in no particular order. I just showing you the books, how I pulled them out of their places they're currently we're resting in and showing them off, and that is it. And now, without any further rambling, let's get on with the first book. And now since I said it is in no particular order, I of course show you the first book I actually bought in 2017, and I'm actually currently reading, and that is 4321 by Paul Auster. This is a book about four identical boys that share the same DNA but are not brothers. They are not raised as brothers. They don't know about each other, and it follows their lives. And at the same time, it's so much more than just that. It's not just about those boys. It's about where you fit in and what family means and what home really is and where home really is and where you can find it. And the writing is fantastic so far, and I will let you guys know what I think about it once I'm done, because it is quite the big book. The next book I got is The Girl Before by J.P. Delaney, not sure how to pronounce that name. This is a thriller about a very strange apartment complex where you are not allowed to own any personal items such as books in your apartment. And we follow two women that had something tragic happen in their life, which is the reason why they want to move into this apartment complex, because they just want a completely new start. They want to leave basically everything they have behind them, and they move into this strange place, and of course it's not what they expected, because it's a thriller. I want to read this book because it's about a place where you're not allowed to own books, which is just horror right there. The next one I have is Traitors to the Throne by Alvin Hamilton. This is the second book in the Rebel of the Sand series. I am not sure if it has a specific name, but let's just call it that. I actually read the first book and thought it was really interesting plot-wise and nicely written, and then I got this book as an e-arc through NetGalley, and I loved it so much that as soon as it came out, I bought my own physical copy. So that clearly shows you guys I love this book. And the series is about a girl who is an unbelievable good gun shooter. She lives in a fantastical Arabian desert, and she's kind of a cowboy in there, and it is about a kingdom where there is a big rebel group that tries to take down the king that is currently ruler of this kingdom, and that all just sounded very strange and very uninteresting, but it is just packed full of action and adventure, and it has a really brilliantly written female main character that grows and learns from her mistakes, and really highly recommend the series, and especially the second book in it, because it is fantastic, even though it is quite a big book, especially compared to the first one, which is basically half of this. But it's a fantastic series, and you guys should check it out. The next one I already shown off in a video, and that is The World's War by David Ulusoka. Still not knowing how to pronounce his name, but anyway, this is a non-fiction book about the non-white soldiers that fought in World War I, and that are very rarely, if ever, mentioned in any history books, and since those mainly focus on white soldiers. It's all about, as the undertitle says, it is all the untold stories of the millions of Indian, African, and Asian troops who fought during World War I, and I just thought that sounded interesting. It also features some pictures, and it is quite densely written. I started to read this and I put it down in February because I couldn't really get into the story. It was very dense, but I will pick it up in the near future. And maybe even let you guys know what I think. And then I have another nonfiction, and that is Hidden Figures by Margot Lee Shetterly. This is about the black female this is about the black female mathematicians that worked as the human computers for NASA before actual computers existed. And this is just about those very, very smart black female. They were basically scientists, but never got a title because they weren't allowed in university. And then I have another book I already featured, and that is the African Trilogy, which has Things Fall Apart, No Longer at Ease, An Error of God, all by, oh God, I always butcher his name, Chinua Achebe. I have no idea how to say his name, so sorry. This is the collection of all three African classics, where all of the three novels talk about the struggles of the European colonization in Africa, where it is told from the African point of view instead of the European point of view. I read the first one, Things Fall Apart, and it is really well done. It just takes a lot out of you to read those novels, so it will take me a while to read all three, but the first one is fantastic. Next book I have is a very hyped and very, very talked about book, and that is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, not sure, sorry. I knew before I started filming this video, I knew how to say her name, and then I came on here, and now that I can talk, I can't do it. Anyway, this book is about a black girl who has to watch her friend get killed by a police officer, and then the story evolves from that point on into how different black people are treated, how the society reacts to hearing a black boy is being killed in a different way than hearing how a white boy is being killed, and how people are reacting to a white police officer shooting a black boy, and in a neighborhood that is mainly black and not necessarily the richest part of town. And it just focuses on how everybody reacts, how our main girl herself deals with what happened, what she witnessed, and how she deals with everything that goes on after it happens. And one of the most important and currently word-fitting books, and on top of that, it is a really good book. It is not just one that features and talks about a very current, important topic, but it is so nicely done as well. It is well written. It really shows the struggles that started the entire Black Lives Matter movement in the USA. And so yeah, you guys should definitely check this book out. Moving on with the next book, I got The River of No Return by B. Ridgway. This is a time travel historical fiction book where a woman travels through time on a quest to bring down a secret society that controls the past, of course, also controls the future. Be reading this very soon, I think. And then I have The Tale of Dwelling Neurosurgeons, which is the history of human brains as revealed by the true stories of trauma, madness, and recovery by Sam Kean. And this is a non-fiction book, exactly what the title says it's about the early study and the history of the function of the human brain and how neurosurgeons started to figure out their field of medicine with trial and error ways. I have a huge fascination with the human brain, and I read anything I can get my hands on the topic, as Sam Kean is a really well-loved science author, so I just wanted to give this book a try. And then I have Paying Guests by Sarah Waters, and this is set in the 1920s where a woman and her daughter have to take in guests to help their expenses and in their house, and those paying guests bring with them a lot of fun and different worldviews and a scandal, and I think a lesbian relationship. I could be wrong about that, but I think it involves a lesbian relationship. This just sounded good. I never read anything by Sarah Waters before, and I heard fantastic things about it. And then I got a book that is not the typical kind of book I normally get, and that is While Books Are Falling. That is Guns of Dawn by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I'm sure I pronounced that perfectly. And this is a standalone historical fantasy adventure science fiction action book that takes place during pseudo-Neolithic times. and I don't know anything else about it, but I just heard that. I love the cover. It is a standalone, so I wanted to give that kind of science fiction book a try. And who doesn't want to read a historical fantasy adventure science fiction action book taking place during pseudo-Neapolitan times, and say that 5 times fast, please. We'll see how it goes. And then I have another second book in a series I love, and that is These Ruthless Deeds by Taran Shankar and Kelly Seekers. And this is the second book in These Vicious Masked series, trilogy, duology. I have no idea how many books there are, honestly, but this was a pre-order for me because I loved the first one, which is actually, it's over here. This is the first one, so I love how they made the books matching and how they look together. It's just really nicely done. I read this last year and loved it and could not wait for this book to come out, and it's finally out, so I love it. This is the second book in the series, as I said, and this series is kind of hard to explain. The first book is basically a supernatural spin on Jane Austen books, or that at least is how I think it's best described, because the type of writing style is very similar to Jane Austen. You have two sisters that are not the typical dizzy woman of the time. They don't take anything they should do in a way that, oh yeah, I'm going to do that. They just kind of try to find their own way. They're working, they're doing their own thing in Victorian times, and then the story evolves from there. And there are, as I said, supernatural elements in the story. And the entire time I read this first book, I kept thinking, that is what has been missing from Jane Austen, which is very strange because I love Jane Austen and nothing was missing from most of her books when I read them. But you read this series and you think Jane Austen missed the supernatural elements. So yeah, it's another fantastic book and another book series that I think deserves way more readers. So if you have not yet picked up this book or this entire series, do so please, because it's so deserving of more readers and more gushing. So do that please. And then second to last, I have a book that I am slapping myself in the face with. We Are Not Ourselves by Matthew Thomas, and this is another historical fiction about Eileen, who is the child of Irish immigrant parents, and the story follows her throughout her life and experience, and I do really love strong characters in contemporary fiction, and this is supposed to have that. So I will give this a read very soon and see. And the last one was a pre-order I made and is another very much talked and shown book here on BookTube, and that is The Song Rising by Samantha Shannon, and this is the third installment of the Bone season. The series is about a 19-year-old girl named Paige that is the main character clearly, and she is clairvoyant and living in this paranormal futuristic kind of London in a very different world from ours. Those are all the books I have today, and you're not even seeing all of them, but it is almost as high as I am, so yeah, that was a good haul, I think. I have a good amount of different kinds of books. All of them I'm excited about. A good amount I already read, which is always good. I would love to know if you guys read any of the book. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and maybe subscribe to my channel so that you're not missing my pretty face when it comes up again. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye. Thought that the books are falling. That's just help. Okay, I've got them. I saved them.